Thank you for joining Catholic Gen X, where Tom plans to purify himself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
Garrison Keillor.
Yeah.
Garrison, no.
No, that was Lake Wobegon.
Oh, yeah.
No, this is Purple Rain.
Yeah, I get you now. Minnetonka's a real lake.
I think it's, that's a great...
Look at how upset he is that we're not laughing.
I've been waiting for that one all day. I'm so excited. I woke up. Today's the day. It's like Christmas. This is a zinger. And you go to NPR.
No, I'm going to go drink a bottle of cheap wine under the cherry moon. So I read this... I know sometimes it's shocking the things I don't know as a cradle Catholic.
Right.
So I get that.
But you grew up in Connersville. So,
right.
Yeah.
I read this morning that holy water, when we bless ourselves with holy water, removes venial sin or washes away venial sin.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, because I read that and I'm like, this is news to me.
Where'd you read that at?
In a book about holy water. I'll bring you the book.
All right.
So there's a whole book about holy water?
Yeah, well, it's like 90 pages, John. It's not. It's more of a pamphlet.
That's still a lot of pages.
Did it also include the Italian grandma throw it in the soup and?
It talked about gardens.
Okay.
And I thought of a certain somebody who goes through it by the gallon.
Right.
Who has gone on a rant before about there not being any holy water available.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a real problem in churches these days. So, and cleaning out basically the holders or whatever the receptacle is.
It was one of the first things I did as pastor was
You're
add
an excellent
more,
pastor and even better friend.
more funds.
Well, I mean, I saw him come as close to leaving the church as I've ever seen him over this conversation.
Yeah, it was...
leaving the parish.
Oh, no. I think he was going to be a Lutheran or something.
I was going to mega church. They have good coffee and a great rock.
That's right.
That's right. Like
Santa flies over the audience.
Now I go in to bless myself, to splash my face in it.
So I've asked this before. I know I've asked it, but I've forgotten the answer. When we were kids, and maybe this was a weird Connersville thing, in Lent they would take the water out and put sand in.
Right. That was very popular for a while. And it was never the instruction of the church. It was just some...
Then like a big piece of driftwood or something in there too.
Sister Nancy had an idea once and it spread. But Pope Benedict actually told us that was not good. That God's grace never runs dry and we need that reminder during Lent maybe more than ever. Yeah.
I'm sure you've told me this before. I just couldn't remember. I knew it wasn't good.
Did you ever go to a church that would set up a sandbox in front of the altar and plant cacti?
Oh, I don't actually. I'm surprised I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I'm relieved.
Or dead sticks decorating the altar.
I've seen a lot of that. Driftwood.
I feel like our parish had that.
We had some driftwood. Driftwood sculptures and, to which you always think of dead wood and Lent. And
right.
Really kind of brings you to the Passion, right? So
what we need is some good animal heads in our church.
Animal, like some kind of horrific
like
Victorian gentleman's club?
Yeah. Yeah. If our church was called St. Francis, I would insist on that we have stuffed animals in there.
Stuffed animals?
Yeah, like I was like a big game hunter.
Taxidermy.
Yeah.
So our listeners don't know this, but Counselor Tom was telling us of where he's coming a bit more trad.
Oh, don't bring this up.
Yeah.
I felt I didn't know what to do. I felt like everybody's doing it.
And on his knees. And he did. And then not too long ago, kind of harassing, sanctimonious, whatever.
I did. I own it. But here's the difference. There's a difference in going up at our parish where everybody is in a line and most people are taking it in their hands, to you go to a church where there's a kneeler there. And it's to me, that kind of puts the expectation.
So what I heard is all the talk about peer pressure in the 80s
had
no effect on Tom.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you heard like the... you want to be cool, Tom.
Right.
You know you want to be cool.
I'm more susceptible than I let on.
I will say, I think at our parish, we have a growing diversity of receiving communion. That there are people who receive on their tongue, there are people who receive kneeling, there are people who genuflect and receive standing. So I think that unity is always like a good thing, but I think this really demonstrates a growing personal searching out of your relationship with the Eucharist and your reverence with it. And, I think anything that the church permits is fine. So I haven't been motivated to speak about it really as much as just it's very noticeable to me.
You remind me of something we haven't talked about.
What's that?
You were right. It was not a Eucharistic miracle.
I was right on all counts.
It was mold. Which one was this?
The one here from Morris.
That's what it was. It wasn't bleeding.
No.
It was mold.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I saw one recently. It was the image of Jesus.
India.
Yes.
Has been approved, yes.
That has been approved.
Yes.
Have you seen this, Tom?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I mean, it's undeniable.
So I think I'm going to lump us all in as me.
Go on. We're all kneeling, receiving.
So right. my youngest, I take him to school every day, and we listen to this Saints podcast. And I think we come to believe that miracles don't happen anymore, but we forget all the miracles we know about today happened over the course of 2,000 years.
Right, absolutely. I also think, we tend to only think of miracles as big, flashy events. Mm-hmm. The face of Jesus appearing in a host.
The star dancing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just think we overlook all the many small, if you just want to call them graces, that's fine. But what is grace other than God kind of intervening in this world, right? So I think always look for small miracles. That's my thing.
Well,
wasn't that a Dolly Parton song?
As
it wouldn't surprise me.
Jeff says in All Set for Sunday that there's a miracle every time of Mass.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I think it's a miracle every time my fat butt rolls out of bed. So there we go.
Sometimes it takes a little bit extra grace.
Like literally fall out of bed or get up in the morning?
Fall out of bed, get up in the morning.
Because I thought you probably have rails on your bed.
I have rails on my bed.
That or the sleepwalking.
What would you do if when I turned 50, I just bought a hospital bed and was like, I'm ready.
That would be awesome.
It could happen in that.
So I don't spend a lot of time thinking about you and your...
Sure.
Going to bed. But the story of you and your gym shorts and the raccoon in your bathroom.
Right.
That's one of my favorite mental images of all time.
That's pretty outstanding.
It is. Listener, you can ask later.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say that Father Peter goes to bed with the long stocking cap. So with the English.
Oh, I'm convinced in wintertime 17th, he does 18th
that. Century and stuff like that.
No, none of that is true. None of that is true.
You don't settle down for a long winter's nap?
I do, but not in my stockings and cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of the animal heads in church, I was thinking about a cultural phenomenon that I'm noticing a lot more these days, of why do people have more pets than children?
Oh,
if they have any kids at all.
I'm staying silent on this. I get in trouble all the time. I get accused of being a dog hater simply because I don't love dogs.
None of us have pets.
No.
Don't want one. Don't need one.
I had one years ago. I had a dog years ago.
I did too. I had a dog
like years ago when you were a boy?
No. Before seminary, though.
Yeah. We had our guinea pig Oreo, R.I.P., buried in the backyard.
I get... This is... Why does he do this to me? I don't care if you want to have... I don't care how many dogs you want to have. What I hate is how dog lovers judge those of us who have zero desire to have a dog in our life.
Right.
I get this from people. They're like, oh, Father, you should get a dog. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. And they're like, no, it would really make you happy. And I'm like, it won't.
It wouldn't make me happy.
No. But it's assuming you're miserable.
Right, also that. But, I'm going to give them that.
I'm pretty sure it's not an assumption.
I'm not miserable.
Father, if you get a dog, you'll smile more.
But it's not true. I think there is a sociological thing going on. It's a sociological thing going on where... pets, animals, fur babies are more acceptable than children. And
why do you think it's more acceptable?
I think in part there's a fear of children ruining their lives in some ways, like whether that be financially or physically or just the limit on your freedom that children...
True.
It is. It's all true, but isn't it also worth it?
Some people would say no, I guess, right?
I guess.
But like statistically, like it just
looks around. I know what you're saying, but it's not limited to that. I mean, you see plenty of people who... this idea that all of a sudden you can take your dog everywhere you go.
Yes.
I don't get it.
I was at a store, I'm trying to think where I was recently, and it was kind of a department store kind of place, and this gigantic Marmaduke, this guy kind of like, the poor dog was like, hips were probably bad and shuffling in and going in there. I thought, what in the world? So, I like animals. I'm not against animals. I don't idealize animals in some ways. But part of the problem is I'm allergic to animals.
Me too.
So, when my oldest was a kid, he's like, Dad, we need to get a dog. And I said, well, you see, the problem is, son, is that, I can't really breathe around animals. He's like, well, you could sleep in the basement.
Right. So, valid point.
Yeah, which, I appreciate that.
And Mom is like, yeah.
Right. I get a whole floor to myself, and I can kind of do whatever I want. So my lovely wife and I are out to dinner, and this is a handful of years ago. This probably surprises listeners. I can be a little snarky and things like that too. So we go out to a restaurant here, not too far from our house to grab a sandwich. And so we go to sit down. We're sitting outside, and there's a man that has his dog there. And so, unfortunately, this wasn't very charitable, probably the dog, of where, no, I'm not going to sit here. The dog is here. I'm allergic to animals. You need to put me somewhere else. And it was like, well, what's wrong with it? I mean, everybody loves dogs. I love dogs too. I just can't breathe around them. And so it's become something of...
See, I hate this assumption you're a bad person if you don't. That's what bothers me.
It's also okay for you to not like dogs.
Right.
Right?
I don't think it is for some people.
Absolutely.
You said fur babies. I mean, who doesn't like fur babies, Father Peter?
Can we move on? You're going to get me all fired up. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to say something stupid, like judging people who kneel again. Come on.
So let's come back to the issue then, as far as Tom, we don't want to get him, thrown off the show or censored or arrested. So I do wonder, part of it is, Father Peter, where having animals is a bit of where, not always, but it's maximized pleasure and gain. Cats are exception. They have like attitude problems. But I mean, it's kind of where you don't have to really, you have to give some.
Right.
But I mean, a dog for the most part, if its temperament's good, is going to be affectionate when you come home. It's going to play ball.
Right.
It's going to be really, the sense of kind of faithful and expressive that way too. And it is hard. And I think, with children, it's hard in the sense of where, it's not the same nature. It may be similar sacrifice, but not for the same reason too.
Right.
And so I wonder if some of this is of where, animals replacing children is a bit of where it is that. It's more like return on investment. I don't have to give much, and I get a lot.
Well, I also think, like, anthropologically, being created in the image and likeness of God means that we are created to give and receive love. Mm-hmm. And when we decide not to have children, then there is a natural hole there of where do I put my love and where do I receive love, right? And so I think we look for all kinds of alternatives to meet that need that we are created with.
Will dogs be in heaven?
It is possible that there are animals in heaven. It is not likely to be your dog, because dogs do not have souls in the way that humans do.
So I've heard very strong answers both sides of this.
Yeah, this is the correct answer.
Peter Crave says he believes that animals are in heaven because it's, basically, that is creation, how that continues in heaven, the fullness of God's providence.
So I've heard two explanations. I've heard no, because they don't have souls, and I've heard yes, because if that makes your experience more perfect.
Well, I would say there is no reason theologically or logically that God could not populate heaven with animals. but they are not the unique animals that you knew and loved here on earth, because they don't have eternal souls.
Wouldn't it be amazing if when we get to heaven, what is it,
Anthropomorphism, yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't it be amazing if we were like animals, but like that? Like the Fantastic Mr. Fox?
I don't know what that is. Is that a Disney movie or something?
Well, it's a kids movie, but it's
Okay.
I mean, they're like people. They wear suits and hats and everything, but
like
they're
Fox.
animals.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I love those old paintings with
dogs playing poker and
no, more like where they look like an English gentleman, but it's a fox or an otter or
Frog and Toad.
Frog and Toad.
Right.
Frog and Toad's a great
yeah.
example. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just want to be fully human in heaven. I think God's going to be enough. If there are a bunch of dogs around, I'm sure that I won't be allergic to them.
No.
At least in heaven.
No, because you'll be perfected.
So, do you think that in heaven there will be a difference in how you perceive yourself and how others perceive you?
No, we will all have perfect perception.
Okay.
So
I don't think that answers my question, though.
Oh.
Because I think for you, your perfect perception might be a certain time period in your life that doesn't match with my perception. Do you follow what I'm saying?
But, you mean like my appearance?
Sure.
Or like how I am like more fully perceived? Like, I think people will finally know that I'm not really a jerk.
We know you're not.
I don't know that Tom does.
I'm waiting to hear more.
Yeah.
I think so, but here on Earth, there's always a difference, right, between the way we perceive ourselves and the way others perceive us,
Yeah.
right?
But if in your mind, the perfect version of Peter was 19 years old and blue hair, but I didn't know that, Peter.
That doesn't matter. In heaven, we are perfected.
Do you think we'll know each other?
Yes.
Because I've heard some say we won't.
We know perfectly.
Those are drunks. Don't listen to them.
Are they heretics?
They're heretics. I'm saying whatever is the perfect version of Peter Marshall is what it will be. It's not dependent on when I thought I was the most perfect versus when you thought I was the most perfect. It is the reality of the perfection.
Oh, so most of us will probably be elderly.
Yes.
So if you thought you were perfect, you weren't perfect.
Right.
So it's going to be just like Cocoon.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I'll be just like Wilford Brimley.
Doing breakdancing.
You're not far off from Wilford Brimley now.
You shave the beard and just keep a mighty mustache.
Well, you didn't think that was going to offend me, did you?
I did not.
I will say, as a father, I can't imagine not. I mean, I'm grateful to God that I have children, and I think having kids, as hard as it is, and for some of us is part of our vocation. Some people cannot have kids for different reasons, but I think how that stretches your heart in a way,
Yes.
allows you to love and sacrifice in ways that, as good as pets can be.
Right.
It isn't the same.
What I always knew, even as a young man, was I would get to some point in my life and be like, what was this all about?
Go on.
If we didn't have children.
Oh.
For you, obviously, it's different because you've chosen a different path.
Better.
But I'm not arguing. But, I mean, I think you would get to that point. I love my wife, and I love doing things with just her, and there are certainly times that they get in the way. But I think at some point we'd sit down for Christmas dinner and look at each other and be like, what was this all
I
about?
agree.
Yeah.
I don't think as a man of where as good or as broken as that is, that I would have the goodness of my experience in my life without kids.
No. I will say, kind of touching on what Tom just said about my vocation versus the vocation of marriage, is I hear from young men a lot that, no, I'm not going to go to the seminary because I really would like a family, or I'd really like to have kids, or whatever. And my response to that is, of course you do, and I want you to want to have kids, and I want you to want to have a family. It's a sacrifice, right? Like, so just that desire, which is good and holy, to have a family is not a discernment sign in itself.
I never thought about that, but that's a great point, because the kind of person who doesn't want to be around kids, would probably not make a very good priest.
No, they'd be terrible.
Yeah.
Do you want some names?
I think that's a very wise point, and certainly one of where I don't think the young people would imagine that if they are discerning of where, priesthood is like the absence of a desire for a family. It's not that at all.
No.
Some would argue that it's better for you that you have more.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly have that perspective, and I got this from Archbishop Beekline, rest in peace. Like, the only nice thing he ever said to me was that celibacy is forsaking the love of the one for the love of the many. Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a good way to think about what celibacy is as a Christian, as a disciple, I'm still called and commanded to love, right? Mm-hmm. In an ordered way, in a boundaried way, but definitely called to love. So it's not giving up love. It is trading loves one for another.
Mm-hmm. Would you share any of the not nice things he said to you?
Oh, well, the running joke, my entire seminary and first years of priesthood was that Archbishop Beekline didn't know my name. So, I was not.
He had to wear the name tag whenever.
Yeah, I was not important.
So it sounded like, hey guys, like, hey father, right. How you doing, father?
Every time you met him, was it like you'd never met before?
Yes.
Because I know a couple of people like that. We met many times.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. As a psychologist, sometimes I'll talk to priests or even more commonly seminarians, and where like the concept of libido.
Right.
Here we go, Tom. Here's some words for you. The concept of libido is overly sexualized. It's something which is just like this or that. I think it's something which is much more, and this applies to celibacy, something of ourselves we want to give that is life-giving. This is like one for the other. Is like giving yourself more fully in the sense of really that life-giving aspect of who you are, just not going to be in an appropriated way.
Well,
so ministerially.
And if we look at eros in the Greek, right, which is unfortunately only translated now as erotic, right? But eros is really the love that possesses, or the love that desires to possess, right? And then in return to be possessed.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of ways in which I can pursue being possessed more fully by God, right? Or that I can pursue even in a healthy and boundaried way, being possessed by my parish and the community of the church, right? That doesn't have to be sexualized.
Right.
So
Yes.
I've thought about this a lot as I've gotten older. Old art, even some sacred art, has nudity in it.
Yes.
And it's not sexual, it's
No.
just the human form. So, the world has changed. We don't have paintings now, we have photographs. Is it possible artistically to appreciate the beauty of the human form and it not be sinful because it's not in a sexual way? It's just the appreciation of the beauty of a young body. I know that sounds creepy, but you know what I mean.
I also think...
Is that possible?
Yeah, I'm going to retract my last statement. It is possible, and then I'm not going to say anything else.
It's a slippery slope, for sure.
It is. I also think that there's because sexuality, I'm trying to say this without getting myself in trouble or scandalizing 8th grade listeners, which I didn't even know we had.
Yeah, we're big in the South Side.
I think sexuality is a gift from God, right? Mm-hmm. Of course. And so therefore there has to be a parallel of sorts with the spiritual life, right? Mm-hmm. And I think you two were with me when I took you to see the Ecstasy of Saint Therese, right? Mm-hmm. The great statue by Bernini in Rome, which you can easily look at that and say, oh, like that's sexualized. Mm-hmm. But I think that Bernini's point there is that close communion with God is only experienced in several degrees removed here on earth in sexual expression, right? where we commune with one another in the closest way possible.
Yes.
And so I do think some of that art is conveying a bit of, maybe sensuality is better than sexuality as a word there, but because it's conveying a spiritual reality at the same time, but in earthly terms.
Well, agreed, because I think, and having seen that with the two of you, to say that it's sexual would actually reduce like what Bernini was actually communicating.
Yes.
Because it's something where the spiritual aspect would be more potent, to be more impinging, like more significant, and moving beyond the body.
Well, I've just noticed as I've become older that I am perfectly capable of looking at an attractive younger woman and appreciate that she's a beautiful woman, and it's kind of like it's a gift.
Right.
Whereas in my younger days, it wouldn't have been just the appreciation of the beauty, it would have been more base.
Right.
Well, but that's the point. If we're, in art or otherwise, or just even just like reality now, like what is the end? Is it essentially, Tom, as far as like, you're giving, praise or gratitude to God for seeing beauty of his creation? Or is it something where the end is more of an objectification, it's an extension of me?
So I think that's what
desires.
changes. I think,
right.
And maybe this is unique to me, but I think as a younger man, it was harder. It was that way. As an older man, I'm much more able to appreciate beauty without feeling attraction.
I think that's maturity to a large extent. Like it's less about physicality and more about maturity. There's an old story in the church about two bishops who were coming out of the outside, and two prostitutes walked by, and one covered his eyes and averted his face, and the other greeted them as they walked by. And the one who covered his eyes said, "Brother Bishop, I can't believe that you didn't avert your eyes and cover your eyes." And he said, "Well, but aren't they created with the same dignity and beauty that God created all of us?"
Right.
And there's so those are kind of on the one hand, there's always this impulse in the church to shy away from the physicality, but there's a maturity of being able to say, I can see them with God's eyes, right?
Right, and the beauty of the fullness of what that is.
Yes.
Right. No, I agree.
Well, I think part of it is as you get older, youth has an intrinsic beauty to it.
It does, absolutely. Yeah.
I imagine too, Tom, as a father, where being married and then having a family, then you start to see life in a different way too.
For sure.
Different than like when you're just your young man or when you're a kid as well. Which I think that part of it is more just the pleasure, but it's kind of where it stretches your experience of reality and the goodness, certainly intrinsically, how you experience people. Because, being some part of that procreatively. I mean, the sense that we're seeing goodness of something that's beyond you. And I think as a husband and father, also wanting to be protective of that too. Not just, to exploit over just like whatever you want, but because you see what is good and beautiful, I mean, that you actually do want to care about that or value or cherish that and thank God for it. Well, it sounds like we're writing a homily here.
Right.
Got deep.
Yeah.
You said you wanted this one to be more lighthearted.
Yeah, I thought it would be just kind of a rant about my allergies, but here we are. Wow. Yeah, we're getting to vocations. I mean, intrinsic goodness and beauty, and keep your sneezy pets away from me.
That's right. Amen.
So we do have a question from a longtime listener, Nick, who said that he heard from, I believe it was a sister when he was in grade school.
Ooh, is this Don't Chew the Host?
No.
I was taught that.
No,
I know,
Father Peter talked about it.
I know you hate it when I bring that up.
He heard that if you say an Our Father,
Yeah.
a Hail Mary, and a Glory Be, it releases a soul from purgatory.
I think there is a indulgence attached to those prayers, but to obtain an indulgence, you also need to, typically speaking, so I'd have to pull out the book.
Well, he's saying it releases a soul from purgatory. It doesn't take time off for him, is how I understood the question.
If that's his intention.
Well, you can always apply an indulgence to
wherever you want, for yourself or somebody else.
Right.
Okay.
So I'd have to pull out the manual of indulgences and look this up. But typically with an indulgence, there is a requirement of a sacramental confession within 7 days of doing the indulgence act, and the need to pray for the intentions of the Pope. So I would need to look up that specific indulgence, but those are prayers to which an indulgence is attached.
Okay.
See, I always hate these things because we don't know, and the thing that I always struggle with purgatory is God's sense of time and our sense of time is not the same.
Right. That's why we no longer say like so many days or years off of purgatory. We just say time.
Well, God is omnipresent. He's past, present, future all at the same time. So.
For those who listen closely, they know that purgatory is the goal.
It is the goal.
Everything else
Please,
is gravy,
Jesus,
right? Yeah.
let me into purgatory. Yes.
Also known as heaven's waiting room. Right?
Yes.
That's right. Kind of intense waiting room.
It always. So this is.
I've been in some doctor's offices, but
this
not
is
purgatory.
so terrible. It always. So my mental image is always Beetlejuice. Remember the waiting room in Beetlejuice where they all just died?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Email us with any questions or comments at catholicgenx@gmail.com, or be sure to send a typewritten or handwritten letter.
That's right.
At P.O. Box 17333, Indianapolis 46217.